Okay, this is gonna be a quick, just overview of Raw, kind of going over the highlights of pretty much what made it good and what made it bad. So, it opened up with Stephanie McMahon coming out to Daniel Bryan's music, and I remember he used to live just outside of Las Vegas, so for a second I did really think that he could be coming out, possibly addressing the whole situation with Brie Bella, Nikki Bella, and Stephanie. But then again, it wouldn't make too much sense. But he has been literally like off the radar for a while, and out of sight, out of mind, whatever, however the phrase goes. I honestly, I don't know. Daniel Bryan's still around. It's kind of that's a whole different video. But Stephanie comes out dressed up in a Steph shirt instead of yes, yes, yes. Does some terrible bad dialogue, brings out Nikki Bella. She does an even worse one, and then you have some bad acting. Jerry Springer bad acting from the Bella twins, and just from top to bottom, it was a very bad segment. Not the best way to kick off Raw, but obviously one of the major angles they have going on right now. So you can't avoid it, but talent isn't something that comes naturally to the Bella twins. So that moved on to the Wyatts. They faced Big Show and Mark Henry, and figuring that they were in the title picture at some point, you'd think they'd have some sort of momentum, kind of hauling through Big Show and Mark Henry, their biggest obstacle, kind of. But nope, Mark Henry and Big Show won, which was surprising. One of many surprising victories throughout the night. And I just thought, I didn't really expect those two to win. Maybe this will be like a new tag contenders, but I don't know. I was very unexpected. That's all I'm really gonna say. And Triple H introduced the new WWE World Title, and this, well, he unveiled the belt, and I was expecting Batista to come out because people were like, yo, there's gonna be like Batista rumor he's coming back, so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna watch Raw tonight. But no, Batista didn't show up at all. Triple H unveils the belt. It's the exact same thing as the old one, just with the new logo. So there were boos, and I think there was boos the first time around too when The Rock unveiled his new belt. But very quiet and very subtle boos. There weren't that many cheers as you would expect. Brock Lesnar comes out, Paul Heyman come out, they do their little photo thing. It gets a little awkward at the beginning. It was quiet. People didn't really know how to react. But then Heyman started talking, and for that 10 minutes or so, Heyman was cutting that promo. You couldn't take your eyes off the screen. It was everything, every word he was saying. It was great. These kind of things you compare it to Stephanie McMahon and the Bella Twins, which it seemed like everything they were saying was just word for word on a script, and they just happened to memorize it very well, go out and say it. Paul Heyman hit this. The rest is all yours, and it just everything flowed, everything was great, and it was definitely one of his best promos in recent memory. I enjoyed it a lot. Made Cena look good, putting up that fight. Made Lesnar look like a machine. Made the title look like it is not going to go anywhere anytime soon. And his next opponent is pretty much going to be just in the same fate as John Cena. And they didn't even announce anybody, but um, it's going to be pretty good to see who Brock Lesnar faces next. And then we had Cesaro versus Jack Swagger, which was another surprising victory considering Swagger's in a program with Rusev, or else I thought he was, but I guess that's done now. And then you had Cesaro, who's really not doing anything. And Cesaro won, but I guess you can say Swagger was kind of injured. So now they're kind of. I was wondering where Swagger was gonna go since they're doing Henry and Rusev, but I guess they're gonna do what's his name? I was gonna call him Bo Lee, but Bo Dallas versus Jack Swagger's gonna, I guess, where they're going. And then we had a six-man tag with Orton, Sheamus, and RVD. No, it wasn't Orton. It was Orton and Ryback versus Sheamus, RVD, and Roman Reigns. And this was a whatever match, but there's just the mind-blowing thing. Not mind-blowing, but Ryback was over as hell. People loved this guy, and it was so cool to see him getting that kind of reaction. Last time you really saw that was that WrestleMania, where it was WrestleMania 29. I remember that place was going nuts when Ryback came out, and I always liked Ryback. He may not be, Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair, but he's the big guy. He's got his own personality. He's got his own style. He's got his own everything, and it was cool to see that. And he even tweeted later on, "I needed that. Thank you, Sin City." So he obviously appreciated it. And we had a great promo. And oh yeah, RVD. This was one of the other major wins. Rob Van Dam gets the win for his team instead of Roman Reigns. So just a weird thing there. So right now you have Mark Henry and Big Show defeating the #1 contenders for the tag titles. You had Cesaro beating Jack Swagger. You had RVD getting a pin over Roman Reigns. And yeah, and then you saw Mark Henry twice in a night. I know they're kind of setting up a little program, but Mark Henry, seeing him twice, I don't know when the last time we ever, probably the first and last time you'll ever see that happen. And that promo was fine too. Mark Henry cut a very, very, very good promo. The crowd was into it, and I think just the whole feud, USA versus Russia, whoever's doing it, I think if they're effective enough, if their words come off believable, people will buy into it. You had Big E do it. You had R-Truth trying to do it, and it didn't work at all. Mark Henry, he represented the United States. He's a big guy. He looks like he can beat up Rusev. People will get behind him. People got behind him, and Rusev looked like a little boy compared to Mark Henry. He picked him up like a cruiserweight. And for the first time, you saw Rusev laid out the way he was. And that pretty much led to the main event, where it was a Falls Count Anywhere. It was a match, a no disqualification match, and it was great. The ending was cinder blocks, a curb stomp on top, smashed them all. You had a Liger bomb on a pile of chairs. You had just crowd brawling. You had brawling on the stage. Kane was there, a little bit annoying, but I guess Ambrose is going to be out for a while, and that was it. And go out your way to check out that match. Go out of your way to look at that Paul Heyman promo. And that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed this Raw review, and I'll see you guys in the next video.